Hello there! In case you're looking for books to put on your Spring and Summer TBR, I thought I would share with you what books are on my Spring and Summer TBR because I love seeing what people are planning on reading, especially for the different seasons, and Spring and Summer are some of my favorite months for reading and picking books that feel like they suit the season really well, so I'm very excited to share with you the books that I am hoping to read in Spring and Summer. The first one I have already read the first two chapters and I was really enjoying them, and that is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim, and I really wanted to read this in April. I said this in a past video of mine, but I just didn't have the time, so I started it on April 30th, the last day of April this year, and I am going to continue to read it in this month in May and also into maybe June because I have quite a few books that I'm reading at the moment that I won't need to finish, but I'm really excited to continue reading this. This is about a group of English women who we are following in the beginning of the novel. They are in dreary England. I think it's February, and this one character sees an advertisement in the newspaper for a medieval Italian villa that is to be let for the month of April. And I believe it's these women staying at this Italian villa, spending their April there, and it sounds like such a wonderful story, and I love the beginning of it. I read it in one of my recent videos, but I'll just read a quick line of it again because I think it's such a perfect opening line, and it's perfect for springtime. Chapter 1. It began in a women's club in London on a February afternoon. An uncomfortable club and a miserable afternoon, when Mrs. Wilkins, who had come down from Hampstead to shop and had lunched at her club, took up the Times from the table in the smoking room, and running her listless eye down the agony column, saw this. To those who appreciate wisteria and sunshine. Small medieval Italian castle on the shores of the Mediterranean to be let furnished for the month of April. Amazing. And the back has a wonderful quote that says, "All the radiance of April in Italy lay gathered together at her feet." I think this sounds like the perfect spring book, and I cannot wait to read it. The next book I have, I think, is a lot less cheerful than The Enchanted April, and that is The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe. I have been wanting to read this for so long. It is on my 2025 TBR, and I was recently talking about it maybe a couple months ago, and someone recommended reading it in the spring. So I made a note of that, and I am planning on reading it in the spring. It's quite short. I know that it is a very depressing, devastating novel, and I'm curious to see how it fits into the springtime because this isn't the type of book that I would really associate with spring. And I wasn't planning on reading it in the spring, but once one of you said that I should read it in the spring, I immediately said, okay, and I added it to my spring TBR. I don't really want to know too much of what this book is about, especially because it's short, but it is translated from the German and has an introduction by Michael Hulse. Can't wait to read this one and see what it has in store for me. I think some tears. I think that's what it has in store for me. The next book actually matches my sweater, and that is A Pale View of Hills by Kazuo Ishiguro. As you can see from these other Ishiguro books right here, he is one of my favorite authors. My plan is to read one of his books every year. I want to say last year I even read 2 of his books, but this year I really want to read A Pale View of Hills. This is on my 2025 TBR as well, and I want to read it in the summer because it says Kazuo Ishiguro's highly acclaimed debut. I've read about half of his books now, and I think from now on, for some reason, I want to go in chronological order, so this is his debut novel. It was first published in 1982 and tells the story of Etsuko, a Japanese woman now living alone in England, dwelling on the recent suicide of her daughter. Retreating into the past, she finds herself reliving one particular hot summer in Nagasaki when she and her friends struggled to rebuild their lives after the war. But as she recalls her strange friendship with Sachiko, a wealthy woman reduced to vagrancy, the memories start to take on a disturbing cast. This sounds incredible. Someone recently DM'd me on Instagram, I forgot who it was, saying that they recently read this and loved it, so I'm excited to read this one. It sounds very deep and thoughtful and impactful, as so many of Ishiguro's books are, and I'm just so excited to read his debut because it's you know, the story that he first introduced the world to, his writing, and I'm really excited to read it. Of course, I'm sorry I always say I'm excited to read books. Like, I said this in a recent video of mine. It's just like a default phrase, but I am excited, so I don't know how else to say it. The next one, I'm also excited, and this is a book I've been meaning to read for years, and I recently hauled this specific edition of it, and that is Wild Sergas by Jean Rhys. This is a retelling of one of the characters in Jane Eyre, and this character doesn't really have much of a voice, and that's part of the story of Jane Eyre. I don't want to give too much away, but Jean Rhys gives the reader more background on this character's life and gives this character a bit more of a voice. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because the character that I'm speaking of is such an interesting character in Jane Eyre, and I would love to hear more about her and her story. So I have high hopes for this one, though I've heard mixed things. I've heard people say that this is brilliant. I've heard people say that it's okay, so I'm excited to see what I think of it, and I will let you know once I read it. The next book on my TBR, I'm hoping to read this one more in the summertime, so I think the Enchanted April and the Sorrows of Young Werther I want to read especially in the spring, so those I'll probably read sooner. These next few I think I want to read either late spring or early summer or midsummer. So the next one I think I'm going to read in summer is A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. E.M. Forster is one of my favorite writers, and this is one of his most beloved books, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's only 306 pages. I need to stop being scared. The font isn't even that small either. Anyway, that makes me less nervous about it. I think I'm just hoping that I love it as much as everyone else loves it, but I love E.M. Forster's books, I love his writing, and I think that I will really love it and enjoy it. So I don't want to know too much of what it's about, but I believe it's about these characters who travel to India from England, and I believe E.M. Forster, traveled to India quite often, and it's kind of a reflection on his own experiences and the culture, maybe the cultural differences. E.M. Forster writes human complexities and the complexities of culture and class so beautifully in his novels, so that's really what I'm expecting from this book. But that's all that I really want to know. The next book seems like it will be the perfect summer read, and that is because it is The Beautiful Summer by Cesare Pavese, and this is translated from the Italian by... It's not very clear who translated this book. I think it was translated by W.J. Strachan, and it also has an introduction by Elizabeth Strout, and I am so excited to read this book. It's quite thin. It's part of my... Oh, I forgot Bonjour Tristesse. I knew there was another book that I was forgetting. I am talking about this one. I will get Bonjour Tristesse in a minute. This one says, it's the height of summer in 1930s Italy. Ah, perfect. If you don't know, I have been obsessing over Italian literature recently, and especially an Italian summer vibe I've really been craving, so this is it. And 16-year-old Ginia is desperate for adventure. So begins a fateful friendship with Amelia, a stylish and sophisticated artist's model who envelopes her in a dazzling new world of bohemian artists and intoxicating freedom. Under the spell of her new friends, Ginia soon falls in love with Guido, an enigmatic young painter. It's the start of a desperate love affair charged with false hope and overwhelming passion, destined to last no longer than the course of the summer. The Beautiful Summer is a heart-wrenching tale of lost innocence and first love by one of Italy's greatest writers. This sounds perfect, exactly what I'm looking for, and I can't wait to read it. I got it. Another book that I specifically bought to read in the summertime is Bonjour Tristesse by François Sagan, and this seems like the most perfect summer read ever, and it's translated from the French by Heather Lloyd with an introduction by Rachel Cusk. It says, published when she was only 18, which is insane, François Sagan's astonishing first novel, Bonjour Tristesse, became an instant bestseller. It tells the story of Céline, who leads a carefree life with her widowed father and his young mistress, until one hot summer on the Riviera, he decides to remarry, with devastating consequences. In A Certain Smile, which is the other story in this collection, a young woman, bored with her lover, begins an encounter with an older man that unfolds in unexpected and troubling ways. These stylish, shimmering, and immoral tales had explicit sexual scenes removed from English publication in the 1950s. Now these fresh and accurate translations represent the uncensored text of Sergas' masterpieces in full. Wow! I did not read that last part the last time I read the blurb, and that's fascinating. I also know that they just released a new adaptation of Bonjour Tristesse, and I'm really looking forward to watching it, but I think I'm going to read the book first. But if you have read this or seen the new movie, let me know what you think of it, because I'm very curious. But I can't wait to read this. This is giving me the same vibes as this one, but this one's more Italian vibes, and this one's more French vibes. So I am here for all of the summer vibes. I really don't love the word vibe, but I use it quite a lot for someone who doesn't love the word. I guess I could say tone or atmosphere or essence. That sounds a bit more nice, I guess. The next book that I am hoping to read in the summer is The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. I have so many books with summer in the title, or at least summer in the blurb, and that's amazing, which is why all these books are in this TBR. This one is translated from the Swedish by Thomas Thiel with an introduction by Catherine Davis, and the edition is from NYRB, which is New York Review Books. They publish so many amazing stories, and this is one of them. I believe this is about a young girl spending the summer with her grandmother, and I don't want to know too much of what it's about. I have only read Moominland Midwinter by Tove Jansson, and I'm really excited to read something outside of the Moomin books. And I know that she also has a book called The True Deceiver, which I've heard is really great as well. That's an adult novel. No. Okay, I randomly just saw, together they amble over coastline and forest in easy companionship, build boats from bark, create a miniature Venice, write a fanciful study of local bugs. They discuss things that matter to young and old alike: life, death, the nature of God and of love. On an island, thinks the grandmother, everything is complete. In the summer book, Jansson creates her own complete world, full of the varied joys and sorrows of life. That makes me want to read it even more. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so interesting. On the back it says Tove Jansson, whose Moomin Troll comic strip and books brought her international acclaim, lived for much of her life on an island like the one described in the summer book, and the work can be enjoyed as her closely observed journal of the sounds, sights, and feel of a summer spent in intimate contact with the natural world. The more I'm reading the back, the more this is screaming that it's a Carolyn book. This sounds like a Carolyn book, and I want to read it so badly now. I already knew that I liked the concept of a grandmother and granddaughter spending the summer together, but just the way that it's described is, exquisite. I am very much looking forward to reading that one and can't wait to tell you what I think of it. The next one, I don't know if I'm going to get to this one. This one is more of a maybe, but I would like to get to it. That is The Waves by Virginia Woolf, and this is from the Penguin Red Spine series. And how beautiful is this cover? It's so simple, and it's just this photograph of these bed sheets with a window, but there's something about it that I just love. It's very calming, I think. An astonishingly beautiful and poetic novel. It begins with 6 children playing in a garden by the sea and follows their lives as they grow up and experience friendship, love, and grief. That sounds perfect, and I adore Virginia Woolf. She's one of my favorite writers, and I have yet to read The Waves, and it sounds like a perfect spring-summer book, so we'll see if I get to that one. The last book I recently picked up. This is the book I bought most recently, and I haven't shown it to you yet. It was just released from one of my all-time favorite writers. I have read every single one of his books, except this one, because it's his newest release. And that is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. Oh my goodness, you can tell just from the cover that this is going to be a perfect book to read in the summertime. I am so thrilled to have my hands on this book. I've been looking forward to it ever since it was announced, and it is translated from the Swedish by Neil Smith. The quote above the blurb says, "The world is full of miracles, but none greater than how far a young person can be carried by someone else's belief in them." I'm gonna start crying already. I haven't even started the book. I also just have to show you how cool Under the Dust Jacket is. I believe this is just on the Barnes & Noble exclusive editions, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which also comes with an interview with Frederick Bachman, which is really exciting, and I can't wait to read it. Also, look at these end papers. They're so beautiful. It's like textured paint almost, and it looks like water, which is so perfect. Anyway, let's read the blurb. Most people don't even notice them. 3 tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. The fact that it's starting out with a painting, referencing a painting. If you guys don't know, I am an artist, and I went to university for illustration, and I took a lot of art history courses, so I studied art history for many years, and I adore studying paintings, so this is perfect. It says, "Most people think it's just a depiction of a wide expanse of sea. But Louisa, soon to be 18 years old, is an aspiring artist herself, knows otherwise. She is determined to find out the story behind these 3 enigmatic figures. More than 2 decades before, in a distant seaside town, a group of teenagers find refuge from their bruising home lives by spending long summer days on an abandoned pier, telling silly jokes, sharing secrets, and committing small acts of rebellion. These lost souls find in each other a reason to get up every morning, a reason to dream, a reason to love." I don't want to read too much else because I don't want to be too spoiled or know too much, but this sounds like such a perfect read. I love that it is connecting the story behind a painting and the painting itself and an observer of the painting. Also, it touches on topics of friendship and so many things. What I love about Frederick Bachman's work is he captures everything in his stories. He can make you laugh, cry, scream, just like every single emotion you are capable of on one page and in one chapter. And his books are so multifaceted and so deep and hopeful and beautiful and devastating, and they just will make you feel everything, and I adore them. So I cannot wait to read this. And it seems like the perfect summer book as well. So those are, I believe, 10 books, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we have 10 books that I want to read for the spring and summer, and I really hope I can get to all of them. I will probably be sprinkling in some other books along with these, but these are my main priority. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing the books that are on my spring and summer TBR. I would love to know if you are interested in adding these to your TBR, what books are on your spring and summer TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you think of them, if you've read any of these authors' other works, if you have any other recommendations. I love hearing from you and getting your recommendations and just talking to you about all things bookish. So I hope you are having a fantastic day, a wonderful spring. I hope you have an even better and wonderful summer as well, and I will see you soon in another video. I'm so excited to read these and update you guys on them soon, and as always, happy reading.